The tape clicked, and silence spilled out first. Not the absence of sound, but the kind that feels like it's watching you. Then his voice, trembling, barely above a whisper, said, "I think something followed me home." There was no introduction. No setup. Just a truth too heavy to carry anymore. No one had seen him in 2 weeks. But this recording arrived in the mail. No return address, just my name in his handwriting. Owen's voice cracked again. "They're not missing. Not really. We just forgot how to look." The walls in my apartment seemed to lean closer as I listened. The audio scratched and pulped like it had aged decades in a week. "I went looking for them," he said, breath-catching, "and now I don't know what's real anymore." Static cut in again, violent, consuming, then cleared just long enough to catch him say, "I hear them at night." His voice wasn't alone on the tape. There was something breathing. Not him. Something slower. Wet. Wee. Close. Then silence. Then the scream. Not panicked. More like disbelief turned inside out. And when it stopped, he said it clearly. Calmly. "If you're hearing this, they've probably already found you too." There was no reason for Owen to send a cassette. He hated analog. Hated nostalgia. Always mocked me for still using film. But this wasn't retro. It was desperate. The handwriting on the envelope was shaky, like he'd written it with his non-dominant hand, or while panicked. I played that tape 10 times that night. Each time, the breathing got closer. Not louder, closer. Like it knew I was listening. At one point I paused it and rewound, and I swear the scream came sooner. It didn't make sense. I didn't sleep. I sat there in the blue glow of my lamp, the tape deck perched like a relic between us. By dawn, I wasn't wondering what happened to Owen. I was wondering if he ever existed at all. Because when I tried to call him, number, disconnected. No social accounts. His email bounced. And the recording? I couldn't replay it. The cassette had melted inside the player. Owen used to say monsters hide in plain sight, we just forget how to see them. He believed something ancient lived in the silence between missing persons cases. He once told me, the unsolved ones, they're not accidents, they're stories someone forced shut. I thought he was unraveling. His notebooks were full of connections that made no sense. People vanished on the same date years apart. Whole families erased from digital existence. Places that didn't show up on any map but had phone signals. He was obsessed. And scared. But he kept digging. The week before he vanished, he called me, whispered, "It's not a person, it's a pattern. A design." I laughed it off. But now, I can't stop seeing the connections. Can't stop feeling like my name was already written in one of his pages, long before I heard the tape. They say the missing leave behind echoes. That if you're quiet long enough, the world will whisper back what it took. Owen believed those whispers were trails. He was tracking them. He had files on people no one else even remembered. He once showed me a photo of a girl who vanished in 1992. The thing is, I recognized her. But not from the past. From a coffee shop I'd visited last week. Same face. Same birthmark. Same clothes. But she hadn't aged a day. I told myself it was coincidence. Or a dream. But now I can't find that coffee shop again. The street is there. The building is there. But it's boarded up. No sign of her. No record she ever worked there. Just brick and dust and a flickering light that never turns off. I keep the envelope he sent me in a drawer. I don't know why. I've tried throwing it out twice. It keeps coming back. Not in a ghostly way, literally. I'll find it on the table, or slid under my door, or in my coat pocket. Once, I burned it. Watched it curl and blacken. The next morning it was on my pillow, unburned, unopened, with my name still written in his handwriting. There's something wrong with that tape. But there's something worse about the silence it left behind. Owen didn't vanish. He was taken. Or maybe he followed something too far, and it wouldn't let him go. And now it's waiting to see if I'll do the same. The deeper I dug, the more the world bent sideways. Owen had a storage unit I didn't know about. I only found it because of a receipt buried in one of his books, dated 2 days before he disappeared. I shouldn't have gone alone. The place was on the outskirts. The kind of location no one stumbles across by accident. Chain-link fences, motionless air, the smell of rust and mildew. The unit was half empty, like he left in a hurry, or like someone came after him. There were boxes of tapes. Dozens. All unmarked, except for dates. I played one. It wasn't audio. It was video. Static filled the frame, then slowly resolved into footage of a man sitting in the exact same unit. Owen. Duh. He looked straight at the camera and said, "I'm not alone here." Then something moved behind him. I paused it there. I don't know why, but I couldn't watch more. I took 3 tapes and locked the unit. But when I looked back at the building from the road, the number on his unit door had vanished. Back in my apartment, I set up an old VCR I hadn't touched in years. Each tape was dated, and the handwriting was definitely Owen's. The first tape started slow, just an empty hallway, grainy, lit by a single flickering bulb. Then a door at the far end creaked open, and a figure stepped out. But it wasn't Owen. It was a woman, pale, mid-30s, same features as the missing girl from the coffee shop photo. Same clothes. Same stillness. She didn't walk. She sort of glided. Her face never blinked. The tape cut to static, then showed Owen in his car, breathless, whispering, "I think I brought her with me." His eyes weren't just afraid, they looked hollow, drained, like something was feeding on him. He reached for the camera, and the image warped violently, like a magnet pulled the pixels out of place. Then black. No sound. Just silence that felt loud enough to hurt. I tried to show someone, my friend Ava, the only person who didn't think I was losing it. But when I played the tape for her, nothing happened. Just static. No woman. No Owen. Not even the hallway. She gave me a look, half concern, half fear, and left. An hour later, I got a text from her. I saw her. In the elevator. Then she stopped responding. I ran to her building, slammed the elevator call button until my fingers went numb. Nothing. Power was out. I sprinted up 12 flights. Her apartment was locked. I pounded on the door until a neighbor came out and asked, "Who's Ava?" I showed him a photo. He just shook his head. Nobody's lived there for years. Her name was gone from the mailbox. Gone from my phone. All that was left was the text. I saw her. No contact name. Just a blank number, and one word under it. Deleted. I went back to Owen's tape. Watched every second. Froze every frame. In one, there was a symbol carved into the wall behind him. Something jagged and circular, like a spiral made of thorns. I drew it out. The next morning, it was carved into my bathroom mirror. Not scratched. Carved. The glass was clean. No tool marks. Like it had grown from inside the surface. I ran. And left the apartment behind. I didn't take the tapes. I didn't even take clothes. Just a notebook and a single photo. Owen, smiling in front of that coffee shop. The one that never existed. I kept walking until the city faded behind me. I found a motel off the highway, paid cash, checked in under a fake name. That night, I dreamed of her. The woman from the tape. Died. Only this time, she opened her mouth, and Owen's voice came out. Sleep isn't rest anymore. It's surveillance. Every time I close my eyes, I hear Owen's voice. Not speaking to me, whispering through me. I wake up gasping, drenched in sweat with words scrawled on paper I never touched. You saw her, don't speak her name. She lives in the silence. I burned them all. They came back. Copied, scribbled in my handwriting across the motel Bible, the lampshade, the ceiling tiles. I checked out at dawn. I don't know where I'm going. But I think I know what Owen felt. The slow unraveling of memory. The ache of being forgotten while still alive. The sound of something following you, even when no footsteps fall. It's not about who vanished. It's about what they saw. And I think I'm about to see it too. I thought I could outrun it. The silence. The woman. The mirror. But the pattern isn't chasing me. It's pulling me. I found myself back in the city without realizing it, walking the same streets Owen mapped in his notebooks. They looked the same, but off. Like stage sets left in the rain. People passed me with blank stares like extras waiting for direction. A man bumped my shoulder. Cold. Gnawed. Too cold. I turned, and he was gone. No footfalls. No trace. I took shelter in a church Owen had once circled in red ink. It was old, half abandoned. Inside, dust hung like smoke. Candles burned, but no one had lit them. In the back pew I found something taped beneath the seat, another cassette. A whisper ran across the walls like wind. I didn't press play. Not yet. I needed to remember who I was before I heard more. But I couldn't. The tape felt heavier than it should, like it remembered me before I remembered it. The tape was labeled Day 7. That shook me, because this was my 7th day chasing Owen. The handwriting was mine. I never wrote it. Not that I remember. I finally pressed play in the church basement. The audio was grainy. It wasn't Owen this time. It was Ava. She whispered. He showed me what's underneath. There's a door. It doesn't open. It remembers. Then, static. Then her again. Don't go where the air forgets how to move. Her voice broke. He's not Owen anymore. He's wearing Owen. The tape cracked. An actual sound, like the plastic was splintering. I yanked it out. It was warped, soft, hot to the touch. Eva's voice echoed in my head, like it was still playing. I looked up and realized the church basement had no exit anymore. The door I entered was gone. Bricked over. Mortar still wet. I didn't scream. I just sat down. And waited to wake up. But I didn't. I blacked out. Not from fear, from something else. A pressure behind the eyes. I woke up on a bench outside the church, the cassette in my lap, untouched. The sky was darker than it should be. I checked the time. Hours had passed. My phone had no service. No time. Just a blinking question mark. The church was gone. Same lot. Same trees. But no structure. Just an empty clearing, windless and wrong. I walked back to the main street. No cars. No people. Not even lights in the windows. It was like the city had been evacuated, but no one told me. I shouted once. My voice was swallowed. Not echoed. Swallowed. Then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw her. Standing still, in the reflection of a shop window. But not in the street. Only in the glass. Her eyes were open, but not looking. Not blinking. Just waiting. I didn't move. Not for a full minute. I watched her in the reflection, waiting for her to blink, shift, anything. But she remained still, even as my own reflection moved. Then, slowly, she smiled. Not with her mouth, with her eyes. The glass rippled. I turned and ran. No plan. Just away. Down alleys I didn't recognize. Past buildings that changed shape when I looked again. The world was folding in. But one thing stayed the same. The sound. A low hum, like a breath, that never ended. It followed me. Got louder the more I denied it. I reached a bridge and looked down. No river. Just a drop into pitch. A sign nearby said, "They drown without water." I didn't understand until I heard Owen's voice from behind me. "Don't look down too long, it looks back." I spun around. No one was there. Just my reflection in the metal of the sign, and her, standing over my shoulder. I'm not sure where I slept that night. A stairwell maybe? Or a maintenance closet? My dreams were sharper than reality. Owen was in them. But not as I remembered. His eyes were wrong. Mouth didn't quite move with the words. He said, "You were never supposed to listen. Not to the tape. To them." Then silence. Then the sound of teeth grinding, not his. I woke up with a new scar on my palm, shaped like the spiral from the mirror. No blood. Just pain. Fading like it had always been there. I looked at my phone. Still no service. But the background had changed. A photo I didn't take. Owen standing next to me, both of us smiling. My hand on his shoulder. I never took that picture. I don't remember that day. And in the corner of the photo, almost invisible, the reflection of her watching from behind the lens. I finally broke into Owen's old apartment. The lock was rusted, but gave way with barely any force. Dust thick as ash covered everything, yet the calendar on the wall still read the current month. As if time only moved outside. His walls were covered in photos. Missing people. Some had dates scribbled over them, others just words. Seen again. Looped. Not her. I recognized half the faces. Not from the past, but from last week. From crowds. From reflections. One picture was of me, standing in front of a bus stop I don't remember ever visiting. Behind me in the photo. Her. Always her. Owen had circled her face in every frame she appeared. But in the center of the wall, unframed, torn and taped, a photo of Owen and me, younger, happier, deaf. The back read, "You already know." I backed away. My legs shook. He didn't leave clues for me to follow. He left warnings. Because I'd seen her before. I just forgot. I took the photo. My hands shook as I turned it over again. The writing hadn't changed. But something new was underneath the tape, a second layer. Another note in Owen's handwriting. "You were with me. That night, you opened the door." I nearly dropped it. My vision swam. I remembered nothing of that night. But suddenly, I remembered forgetting. A sensation like something had been removed and replaced. I found a VHS on his shelf, labeled Door Test. I didn't want to watch it. But I did. The footage was shaky, night vision. Owen, and someone else walking through an abandoned building. The other person, it was me. I watched myself step through a threshold into darkness. I didn't come back out. Owen called into the void, panicked. Then turned to the camera and said, "If I show him this, he'll vanish too." The tape stopped. My reflection in the TV didn't move. I did. I don't trust my memory anymore. I started recording everything on my phone. But when I played it back, my voice was different. Slower. Wide mouth. Wild eye. Like it was underwater. And in the background, faint whispers. Not static. Words. In a language I didn't recognize but somehow understood. I played the audio backward. Owen's voice emerged. "Don't trust the mirrors." I turned slowly. My apartment has one mirror. Above the sink. I approached it. My reflection didn't copy me exactly. Its head tilted slightly too early. Its smile came before mine. Then it mouthed something. I didn't say it, it did. I wrote down the shape of the words. When I translated the pattern from Owen's notes, it meant, "Let her in." I smashed the mirror. Glass cut deep into my palm. But when I looked down, the spiral was already healing. Like it wanted to stay. I drove to the address Owen had scratched into one of the photos, a farmhouse deep in the woods. I don't remember the drive. Just the trees parting. The house was collapsed. But in the cellar, preserved beneath fallen beams, was another room. Intact. Untouched. Walls painted black. A circle carved into the floor. Spirals. "Bed you well," One. Dozens. I lit a flashlight. The light dimmed as I stepped inside, like it didn't want to reveal what lived here. On the far wall, painted in dried red, were the words, "She waits beneath memory." I found another tape. No label. Just sitting in the center of the spiral. I didn't play it. I left it. Backed out of the room. Slow. Respectful. Whatever this place was, it wasn't meant for answers. It was meant for containment. And now someone had opened it. Maybe me. Maybe Owen. Maybe her. I drove until the gas ran out. Middle of nowhere. No signal. Just fields and sky. I thought I was escaping, but I found a photo tucked into my coat pocket. It wasn't there before. This one was different. It wasn't of Owen or me. It was of her. Alone. Staring directly at the camera. Not haunting. Just waiting. I turned it over. The back said in my own handwriting, "You brought her back." I don't remember writing that. But I believe it. I can feel it. She's not chasing me. She's attached. Embedded in whatever space Owen and I once opened. She's not a ghost. She's a return. A recursive thing. Not bound by life or death, but by memory. The more I try to forget her, the closer she gets. Because memory isn't just remembering. It's a door. And I was the one who left it open. I retraced Owen's path to where it began, an abandoned psychiatric hospital outside the city. He mentioned it once in passing. The origin is buried under what was meant to cure it. Most of the building had collapsed, but the basement was untouched. I found his name in the visitor logs, signed months before he vanished. I found mine too, written underneath, in the same pen, the same handwriting. But I don't remember ever coming here. The lights flickered on as I entered the lower corridor. Not all at once. One by one. Leading me. The air smelled like mold and something older, like dust from a grave no one marked. At the end of the hall, a locked metal door stood half open. I shouldn't have gone in. I know that. But something in me had already decided. As if this wasn't discovery, but confession. The room was circular, lined with old machines, reels, screens, monitors still glowing with static. In the center, a single chair faced a screen. On it my face. Not now. Younger. A memory I never lived. The video played on a loop, me walking down a hallway, reaching for a door, smiling. I never smiled like that. It wasn't joy. It was knowing. The me in the video turned to the camera and said, "You were there too." The lights in the room flickered, synced with my heartbeat. My head throbbed. Behind the chair, a mirror. I turned and saw myself as a child, then a teenager, then adult again. The face kept aging, shifting, looping, over and over. Same eyes, same expression. On the whole, as if I'd lived this moment before, again and again, and always forgot. Until now. I watched the footage for what felt like hours, but the clock on the wall hadn't moved. Then without warning, the screen showed Owen. Present day, died, breathing, watching me. Not through the camera, through the screen itself. He spoke slowly. She doesn't follow. She remembers. Then the screen glitched. His face melted into mine. Then hers. Then the spiral. Endlessly spinning, tightening, drawing me inward. My knees buckled. I fell forward. Landed in the chair. The reel clicked behind me. A projector lit up. And on the wall ahead, a door. Real. Whale. Not filmed. Not rendered. A door waiting to be opened. On the handle, a note. Written in my hand. You promised her. My mouth moved before I could think. I whispered, I remember. I opened the door. Behind it wasn't a room. It was her, not standing, not moving, just existing, filling the space like silence fills a grave. Her eyes were infinite, not wide, not hollow, just deep. I didn't speak, didn't need to. She remembered me. She stepped forward. The room didn't brighten. It dimmed further, light withdrawing, cowering from her. She placed her hand on my face. Cold. And I remembered everything. The door. The ritual. The first time. The first lie. We didn't find her. We made her. Built from forgetting. Shaped from loss. She feeds on what we choose not to carry. On what we abandon to cope. She was born of our silence. And we keep her alive by pretending we never saw her. But Owen and I, we broke that rule. We documented. And in doing so, gave her shape. I left the building before dawn. I don't remember walking. Don't remember closing the door. Just the quiet that followed. Not silence, quiet. A knowing absence. I checked my phone. It worked. Signals strong. Messages returned. Reality restored. But it wasn't the same. People I passed looked different. Familiar, yet wrong. Like copies too perfect to question. I turned on my recorder. Whispered one sentence. She was never missing. I finally understood what Owen meant. The disappearances weren't abductions. They were absorptions. Surrenders. Removals of memory. The people weren't taken. They were returned to her. Reclaimed by forgetting. Want. The ones who tried to document, to resist. We left footprints. And she followed those prints straight to us. I didn't lose Owen. I gave him away. We both did. I returned to where it began. Not Owen's apartment, not the church, not the storage unit. The place before memory. An intersection where 4 alleys met, perfectly symmetrical. It doesn't exist on any map. But I knew it by feel. By ache. The ground was too smooth, too still, like it hadn't been touched in years. But the air vibrated, like something weighted beneath it. I brought nothing but the tape recorder. I hit record. My voice cracked as I said, "She's here." I expected silence. Instead, a second voice joined mine. Identical. But not from the recorder. From behind me. I turned slowly. Owen stood there. His eyes were wrong. Too still. Too empty. I said his name. He didn't blink. He just said, "You broke the cycle." My chest tightened. "No, you?" He added, "She can't feed on silence anymore. You let her speak. And now, she'll scream." I stepped toward him. My feet felt wrong, like the ground resisted. Owen didn't move. Just stared. I asked, "Are you him? Or just what's left?" He tilted his head. "I'm the memory of him that couldn't let go, the part she wears." The ground cracked under us, slowly spiraling. The spiral again. Always the spiral. I screamed, "Why me?" And his voice was mine when he answered, "Because you listened." That's when the sound came. Not a scream, but everything but. Sirens, wind, water, metal, fire, laughter, all layered in one terrible roar. It wasn't from around us. It was from inside. The air felt like it was pushing outward from my chest. I fell to my knees. Blood from my ears. My recorder snapped. Not from force, from resistance. As if it refused to carry her voice again. I tried to speak, but my mouth wasn't mine anymore. Words came out, but I wasn't thinking them. They were hers. "I lived in your forgetting. I fed in your silence. Now you remember." Owen's body began to unravel, like ash caught in wind. His eyes never closed. Just dissolved. I screamed, truly screamed, not in fear but grief. For him. For myself. For whatever we gave away that night, we opened the door. The sky above cracked. A flash of white. The alleys bent, collapsing inward like a funnel. And in the center, not her body, but her presence. A shape impossible to describe. A space where a person should be, but wasn't. The shape of absence. She was never a woman. She was a hole. A loss. A truth too loud to speak and too hungry to stay quiet. She stepped. Not toward me, but into me. My breath stopped. My thoughts turned into static. I remembered every face she'd taken. Every name scratched out of reality. I felt her weaving through my bones. Memory is not a gift. It's a weapon. A prison. She had been in me the whole time, waiting. Owen had delayed it. Eva too. They were buffers. Sacrifices. Warnings. I realized I didn't survive because I was strong. I survived because she chose me. I looked down at my hands. They were not mine. Not completely. My voice returned, trembling. If you want to be remembered, then I'll remember you. All of you. All of us. She paused. Time paused. The spiral stopped spinning. That was the first rule she broke. And in breaking it, she became visible and vulnerable. I screamed her name, not aloud, but inside. Forced her image to memory. Forced her history to wait. And like light hitting undeveloped film, she burned. Not in flame. In detail. In permanence. That was her weakness. Being seen. Fully. Without fear. Without myth. The alley exploded into morning. Real morning. Streetlights buzzed. A car passed. Someone jogged by. Normal. Too normal. I stood alone. No recorder. No spiral. No Owen. But I remembered. Every frame. Every sound. Every name. I don't know if she's gone. Or if she's just waiting again. But I do know what she is now. Not a ghost. Not a monster. Just the thing we all create when we refuse to carry the weight of what's lost. I carried it. I still do. And now, I wait to see if she'll come back for me too. I tried to live again. Coffee shops. Sidewalks. Crowds. But the world feels thinner now, like a painting stretched too tight. People speak, but the weight of their words has changed. I know too much. I see too clearly. I recognize faces that shouldn't be here. A woman on the bus whose eyes never move. A child staring too long at his reflection. A man smiling with no warmth. They are still out there, the ones she touched. Not all taken. Some returned. Changed. Hollow, in ways only the remembered can see. I carry the spiral on my skin now, not carved, but grown. Like it's always been there. I haven't listened to the tapes again. But I haven't destroyed them either. Part of me thinks I might need them someday. The world has quieted. But quiet is where she lived. And I've learned, silence doesn't mean safe. It only means waiting. I visited Owen's grave. There was no stone. Just a patch of grass in a field that felt quieter than it should. No bird song. No wind. I brought the photo, the one she left me. Laid it down. Whispered, "I'm sorry. I don't know what for. Maybe for opening the door. Maybe for forgetting. Maybe just for surviving. His name doesn't appear in any registry. No missing person report. No birth certificate. It's like he was edited out of the world's memory. But I remember. And that's the one thing she can't erase, not fully. Not without help. I still hear him sometimes. In dreams. In static. In those few seconds before sleep, when the world loosens its grip. He doesn't beg to be saved. He just says, don't let her become a myth. Because a myth is safe. A myth is comfortable. She was never either. She was truth. Sometimes, I catch myself starting to forget again. It's never loud. Just little details slipping. What day it is, what street I'm on, the color of someone's eyes. That's when I stop, breathe, and speak her name. Not to summon, not to worship, to remember. Because forgetting her is what feeds her. I write everything down now. Every odd encounter. Every flicker of mirrored wrongness. The notebooks pile up. She's not gone. She's adapting, learning, wearing more familiar faces, slipping into cracks between moments. But I've learned to see the cracks. I've learned to see her. I don't fear her like before. Fear means giving ground. Instead, I carry her like a scar, proof that I survived something others pretend never touched them. And that, I think, is what she hates most. Being seen and survived. I received a package last week. No return address. Just like Owen's. Inside was a single cassette. Blank. Label. My handwriting. But I hadn't written anything. I haven't played it yet. I've hidden it. Locked it away. I'm not sure if I'm strong enough to hear what's on it. Or if playing it means starting the cycle again. I don't even know if I'm the one she wants anymore. Or if I'm the one she's using. Maybe this whole story, all of it, has been her voice, wearing my tone. Maybe the spiral isn't carved on me. Maybe it is me. I watch people closely now. Not to find her, but to see who's listening. Who's next. Because the scariest part isn't that she's real. It's that I might be the reason you're hearing her now. There's only one thing left to say. And I've waited too long to say it. But now that it's here, it won't leave my mouth without truth. She was never missing. She was given. We gave her space. We gave her silence. We gave her names. And when we couldn't carry the weight of what we lost, we made her real. You've felt her, haven't you? That moment alone at night when you feel watched, but not seen. When you forget a name you've said 1,000 times. When your own reflection lingers a second too long. She lives there. In that pause. In that almost. In the space between the scream and the silence. If you remember anything from this, remember this. Don't try to forget her. Don't you dare. Because that's when she wakes up. And all she ever needed was your permission.